hour so that we don't miss anyone from the public. I hear footsteps.
Tina.
Hello, Tina, welcome. Thank you. Right. All right, we're just gonna get started. Okay, thanks, Nellie. We're gonna get going. Okay, greetings and welcome to the Manhattan Community Board for Cannabis Task Force. We need to announce that MCB4 has a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance. Excused members and members of the public will be able to participate virtually. We, at this time, do not have any members of our task force that are attending virtually. However, if members were, they would be required to leave their cameras on. The meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel and a transcript is being recorded. So for our February meeting, thank you everybody for showing up. We have two items on the agenda. The first, where we have the applicant here in person, is for location 405 West 39th Street, Level Up NYC Corp DBA, NYCBUD. So just to give everybody a little bit of background with the location, if you recall, about a year ago, we had an applicant that did apply to this location. We had multiple members of the community that were concerned about the location, not the applicant. Reason being that there's a lot of social services, including methadone clinic very close by. They were also concerned about a massive amount of illegal drug traffic that happens in that particular area, and they spoke very vocally about the concerns about that location. This is a completely different applicant, but it is around the same location. So just wanted to make sure that we recalled that bit of history. And so now I'll turn it over to you. Please feel free to introduce yourself. Speak again, so I can see where.
I can, hello.
That's good. So it'll zoom in on you in a bit. But the owl is a really good.
I see it, looks like an owl.
There you go. So you're. So please introduce yourself and let us know what you're looking to do at this location.
My name is John Carlo Pinto. I'm from NYCBUD, DBA Level Up NYC Corp. I'm here with my partner, John Pezzo. We are currently operate a legal cannabis shop in Long Island City, Queens as well, also known under NYCBUD. We were number 60 in the state as far as licensure. We've been operating for 1 year, since February 16, 2024 there. We've had great success. We've learned some things. The community, we're very active with our community. Yeah, on many fronts. We support with there's local like flea markets. We've done donations. We give support in that way, and we try to blend with the community as best we can. And of course, we're aware that we have an adult use product, so we make sure to not put any advertisements near schools or churches or anything of that nature. We also our business model we have to have security guards on staff at all time. So we always have a security guard. They also keep our front of our store clear, make sure that people that they feel safe coming to the store. We are aware of that block. I have a lot of history in this area. I actually owned a restaurant on 38th Carbone many years ago. Came here for a liquor license. I grew up on that block, an apartment in that building, the next door to that building where we currently are proposing to put our dispensary. So I'm very familiar. That block has since deteriorated because there's lack of businesses on that block. There's this particular spot, which was at one time a nightclub, has been empty, and with the tenants have not been steady or maintaining really the outside area. We're putting a window so that right now it's like very dark on the way in. We're putting a window so that we can see outside, make sure that the area is clear, add some light to the area. We added already some lights over to make sure, because there was no bulbs. We at least, when we went there, we said, let's put some bulbs here. Let's lighten up the block. So our intention, of course, is to keep the community safe, clean, and that's part of our brand, is that we don't want people to feel that it's unsafe for them to come. We're like just shopping a normal liquor store, people come by on their routes. We don't want them to feel unsafe coming on the block, so security is of utmost concern. Even how we do our we've included our security standard operating procedures, but all the product is in vaults, underground. There's no product, that's available for the public to steal. Everyone that comes into the store is age verified. They have to be over the age of 21. We scan their ID, so we know who's coming in the store. So without an ID, you're not allowed to come into the store. So there's a lot of, whatever the concern is about the vagrants on the block or those people coming into the store and consuming the product, I don't think it's really a concern for our particular business. We've actually modeled our dispensary. We're known for making it look artistically appealing. Our last dispensary looks like a New York City subway station. And we actually got coverage on New York 1, on Fox 5, and we create sort of like an artistic appeal to the cannabis shopper. It's try to make it a little more fun. This one we modeled after Grand Central Station. So I don't think we're gonna be having too many vagrants inside after I put marble floors and that sort of touch on the location. Beyond that, we have included that our security, the license of the security company that we use. Also that we have 5 panic buttons, over 20 high resolution cameras, outside included. That have to remain recording for over 90 days at a high resolution. We also put signage that tells people, please don't smoke in front of the building, to move, so that they don't, stand in front of the building, creating a cloud of smoke for the neighbors that don't necessarily like that. We also will put a sign informing people that they are being recorded, and that if anything illegal is going on in front of these premises, and we're requested, we will submit that footage to the authorities if need be. To sort of be a deterrent for what's going on currently on that block, if you are aware. Alright, so beyond that, this is our notification to you guys to inform you that we're coming here. These are the signage that we put on the street. We have a lease agreement with our landlord. And then we've also supplied a letter from our landlord, Alexander Restoris, regarding that how he's been part of the community for many years. We actually have worked with him on other projects, so hence is why he's vetted us. It's not that he doesn't know us from anywhere. We come as part of the community. Our intention is, of course, to be forthcoming. If there's anything that you guys would like us to do or change, we're always open to your suggestions. Anything further, any questions at this moment?
Yeah, any questions from the committee? I know we do have some folks in the public that want to speak, so we'll move them over in a bit.
Will I get a moment to respond if there's any?
Alan.
Thank you. Nice presentation. I'm glad, have somebody who's been in this business for a while.
Thank you.
Who were the other gentlemen that are, part of the business?
John Lopez is the operator.
Yeah.
And then we have, the license holder. This is, of course, a licensed business from the state of New York, so everyone had to go through background checks, fingerprinting. They've all gone through this. These gentlemen have the license as well. We partnered with them, and they're also investors, but we're the operators.
Yeah.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Tina.
You said you posted signs for
Yeah.
this meeting. Where are these posted?
On the corner of 39th and 9th,
Right,
and on the corner of 39th and 10th. And then this is on our door, as we were instructed.
I see.
Yes.
Did you speak to anyone in the community?
We did, we went around our neighbors, the local neighbors, I've spoken to most of the storefronts around, because they're the only ones that are really accessible. And of course, whatever neighbors were in our immediate, that like they came down, that they live in the building adjacent to us. The residents that live, they're a fan that we've been cleaning up the front of the store. They're very.
We also sent the email to all the community, the neighborhood, everything that Jesse told me. He gave me a list of
The block
50
associations.
emails, the block association
Did you receive any response?
from.
From the association.
I think that one person just added somebody to it, but yeah, we sent
CC someone, yeah,
Yeah.
CC someone forwarded it from one of the associations.
and we included all these documents.
Yes, we have. we have done that one.
February 12th.
It's interesting that you did it. If you scan down, you see that there's actually somebody sleeping on the floor in front of our building.
Yeah.
To show you how, when you do the community, that's how excessive this particular property, they were just using it to light, whatever they were lighting. And we've really made a point to clean it up, the front, put lights, and try to already like, cause, you know, it's really dangerous. We wanted to see what we could do. I mean, even for my workers, if they're gonna go there, I wanted to make sure that they're safe and everything.
Any other questions? Rodney?
You've opted for deliveries. Can you talk about how that'll be set up?
We currently already do delivery, so the delivery is part of our licensure. It's pretty much the delivery guy, just as we get set, we were already operating in this area as delivery. We, from out of our Long Island City, we cover all the borough of New York City, I'm sorry, of Manhattan, from 116 South. We cover most of Queens and half of Brooklyn out of our hub there. We're just gonna handle New York City deliveries, and we do it by bicycle. No automobiles, only bicycles, pedal actually.
And where did the delivery guys, do they wait there?
Yeah, they come inside, they have an employee lounge downstairs. They don't wait outside, there's a designated area, there's locked doors, they come in through a double locked door. So there's a lot of safety in that regard, and then they take their orders, we track them with on-fleet, live tracking. So we know where there are moments, and they don't take like an excessive amount where it's like a risk for them personally, you follow me? We send them usually out with like 5 orders at the most.
Okay. Any other questions, Rodney?
No.
Raul?
Yes, I noticed that in your application that you guys own 12.5% of the company, am I correct?
Correct.
But that Mr. John Rufino is the majority.
He's the
owner.
51% owner because based on the type of licensure that, the car road license, he must retain 51% of that license for the first 3 years. After the 3 years, we have internal documentation that based on, you know, that those transfer credits will be assigned to us to a more fair amount. But we're operators now, they're paying us as operators.
I see.
Down the road, then in 3 years, we have paperwork to revisit that and just adjust our percentages, but that's about it.
So he has to own 51% because you
He is,
said,
because the type of license, he is the license, they give it to an individual. And then we all go on a TPI, true party interest form, which any one of us that goes on, it has to be background checked, fingerprinted, just as much as he would, and our spouses if we were married as well. And then they verify the monies that we put in, where it came from, all that.
So this is a card license. So
Card
it was
license.
someone who would,
Socially injustice license.
right, social injustice, right?
Correct,
So he qualified under
he
that.
did, yeah,
And he was granted that.
correct. And our other,
But he's not gonna be an
No.
operator,
No.
just, no.
no,
Okay, I see. Another question I have is, your hours of operation, you're intending to be open till 2 in the morning.
but right now illegally it's 8 AM to 2 AM. But just by the cost of expenses of how expensive it is to stay open that late and how busy, I don't think we're gonna be open. Right now, we're operating in Long Island City, 11 to 11. It's getting busier till 12, but it's not like there's a lot of traffic. Most of that's really people home calling for delivery. And in order to do the delivery, we still have to be open with security staff. So whenever we're open, we can't open with one person. We need to open with a security guard, a manager, and then a staff member. So it's quite excessive to stay open too late unless it makes sense.
What's the feeling from the committee by the 2 AM closing? I don't remember how.
Feels pretty late.
There's one there's the other, it does feel late, me personally, I'm not by, but there's another dispensary close by and they're actually 8 AM to 2 AM, it feel kind of weird. They don't stay open.
What's the other one?
Indoors,
You know, we don't want our staff really walking out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, night, you
Yeah.
know, it's
yeah,
not.
I'm not about that, but you know,
so if I understand correctly, you're reserving the option up until your legal time limit. Which
I would
is
like to.
2 AM.
We didn't know what we were
and
gonna
you're
do,
going
so I
to
left it.
Yeah.
You're going to explore
Yeah.
how business is and as well as.
if it's,
Foot
yeah, if
traffic.
it's correct,
Not bad having a light on the street
yeah,
I gotta,
Um,
for work.
Raul, is there any
Yeah.
other
Yeah, yeah.
questions?
No, that's it.
Sanford, anything
Thank you.
from you?
No.
Okay, just want to hear a little bit more about, what you said you've learned since you've opened in Long Island City, what some of those lessons are, and, I'm glad to hear that you have a connection directly to the community. That's
Yes.
very important, and, wanting to also hear a little bit more of that narrative, why you chose to come back to this particular neighborhood and how connected you've been of late.
Well, in particular, I'm familiar with this neighborhood. I had a restaurant 1 block away. The restaurant, when I was here back in the day, it was a little underserved, it felt like, that particular area. If you go a few blocks north, there's a lot more restaurants, a lot more shopping. That restaurant that's adjacent to us was pretty popular, and now it's still pretty nice. But the rest of the block is really desolate. And I saw it as an opportunity to take an undervalued piece of property that has access to a lot of people, but it just needed to be a little attention, so to speak, and something that brings people in, and we also have that ability to secure them. If I was just gonna put a restaurant there, it wouldn't work, because people would come by, it's not very like appealing for a restaurant. The type of business that we operate, or the fact that it has a security guard, the fact that we are always there on top of who's coming in and out, and can't let people just can't enter the place unless they show their ID, I think is a perfect fit for that type of area and space, so that we can start to rehabilitate it a bit, because
Got
I've been there before. And as I said, it wasn't like that
Mhm.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay?
Very true.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of the most scariest blocks in New York City right now. You know,
I'm not gonna argue that, but,
so and
There's
it's
validity.
really a shame to me, I'm being honest with you, I lived on that block, it's crazy. And I know the landlord, and he said, Ken, do you think that you can make something work? And we've been working on it, I said, let me focus on my business, let's see if it would work here. And in fact, I'm already getting a lot of requests and deliveries from the west side of Manhattan, and in particular Midtown and Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. So it made sense for us to come to that sort of area. Plus, being on one of the main thoroughfares, it doesn't allow, it's a little almost too busy on some blocks for us the way we wanna operate our business. We don't necessarily need to be like with the neon lights, right?
but you can't,
What?
you can't have them anyway.
Exactly. But some of the people try to appeal to like the individual consumer that's high traffic area. We're more of like, our consumers, our customers, they tend to be ordering from us the same people weekly. They're people from the community.
So concierge type, service,
Yeah, I mean, it's more residents.
got it.
So being that this website, we see it as more residential community, and we see a lot of buildings coming in, and we felt like there's a lack of resources to, maybe a dispensary this far south and west.
Got it.
Yeah.
So about your Long Island City location, just what are the things that you've learned there? Give us a little bit of sense about, how, obviously, there's been some movement on reducing the illicit shops, whether or not that was a problem for you, how you dealt with that.
It was, I'm very active in the community myself, so we try to give as much information to them regarding, who is in our area that's illegal. We did a lot of the due diligence, went around and said, this is who we are, this is who's surrounding us, and it was excessive, and a lot of them are still open, to be honest. They closed them and they reopened them, but we're realizing that by educating the consumers as well, that our product is lab tested and it's different, and also the experience, when you come to our shop, it's completely different. It's like coming to a retail store for high-end clothes. There's a lot of service, it's not like a bodega style, it's literally, you get personal attention, we speak to you. So there's people that have consumed cannabis products for years, and now they stop. We realize that the people that we thought were gonna be our consumer, which were maybe the younger, are actually not as much. Our biggest clientele is 45 to 65 in Long Island City.
Interesting.
Makes up over 60% of our clientele,
Good to know. Thank you.
right?
We do have some folks, from the public. Oh, sorry,
So
Ronnie.
just one more question. Any thoughts about the restructuring of the Port Authority, how that might affect your business? Any thoughts, concerns?
Well, I've heard about it, but I'm sure, when that comes into play,
It's coming into play for
Soon, right?
probably next 10, 15 years, construction throughout the entire area.
yeah, I saw that. Well, we look forward to it. We hope that, it only helps our business, right? I don't know how, as I said, we do a lot of delivery. We are about 4 buildings down from where the ramp turns on.
Mhm.
But I don't know if they intend on doing anything to our particular buildings.
There'll be a deck over at your around your location.
And for the ramp that's down the block,
There'll be new rails, all new rails.
they're gonna demo everything.
But,
Yeah, the plan is public and it is available on the Port Authority website. Nellie, we do have some folks, from the public that wanted to speak. Are you able to bring them over? If anyone does want to speak from the public, please raise your virtual hand and we'll bring you over. You will have to accept the invitation to come over in order to appear. Okay, Nicholas, we have you. You can unmute.
Hello.
Please
can you
introduce
hear me?
yourself. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. How are you? So my name is Nicholas Trotta, and I am an attorney at NYCBUD, and I'm here today with my client, Chris. He is also here virtually. He is a shareholder of the corporation that owns the property, 405 West 39th Street, so he's an actual landlord. We're both extremely concerned about the plans to open a cannabis dispensary at 405 West 39th Street. As you already heard, a marijuana retailer and apparently delivery service now has leased a unit in the building with the intention of setting up shop. But the problem is this lease directly violates a legally binding shareholders agreement that governs the property. That agreement explicitly bans the sale of drug paraphernalia and head shop goods with zero tolerance for exceptions, both of which the company engages in. So this means that the lease isn't just improper, but actually may be invalid according to the law. On top of that, the lease was signed by just one alleged shareholder, Alex, who John Carlo mentioned, who actually isn't an authorized shareholder. And so not only did this unauthorized shareholder enter into a lease agreement that he's not otherwise able to do, he didn't even consult it with the other shareholders, which includes my client, which is a clear breach of fiduciary duty. John Carlos claims that he knows the landlord, but he really doesn't, because like I said, Alex isn't a landlord. He was, if anything, transferred shares illegally, according to New York law, and this raises legal questions. And because of that, our office has taken action. We filed a summons and complaint against the other shareholders, including NYCBUD, along with an order to show cause seeking a preliminary injunction to stop any involved parties from moving forward with this lease agreement. So simply put, this business's right to operate at this location is already in dispute, and it just wouldn't be right for the task force to approve a cannabis license under these circumstances. But beyond the legal side of things, this hits home for me personally. I mean, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and I'm very familiar with this neighborhood. I grew up going into the city every weekend, and adding a dispensary here would disrupt the unique character beauty of the neighborhood. I mean, traffic and congestion is already a major issue, and bringing in a business that attracts a high volume of customers, as Giancarlo stated, as early as 8 a.m. and as late as 2 a.m. will only make things worse. And more importantly, a dispensary just doesn't fit with the charm and culture of the community, especially one that will be delivering their products, if I heard that correctly. This isn't just about property owners, it's also about the residents and small businesses that have built their lives here. So there's a reason the shareholders agreement has this restriction in place, and it's protect the integrity of the neighborhood. I mean, sure, my client could easily rent it to a dispensary and make money off of it, but that's not the point. He wants to protect the integrity and the beauty and the charm in the neighborhood, that one that he's been involved in for a very, very long time. I also want to mention that there's been a petition out posted on change.org that already has over 80 signatures of people in opposition of this dispensary operating at this location. So given the legal conflicts and the very real concerns of the community, I strongly urge this task force to reject the cannabis dispensary license application, or at the very minimum, hold off on making any decision pending our litigation in the court system. And just to give you a better sense of what's at stake, I'd like to introduce my client, Chris, who could share more about the community's concerns and why this is such an important issue for the people who live and work here. So, Chris, if you could.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Because I'm
We hear you.
okay. Good, thank you. Hi, I'm Chris Mescoris. Roughly around 1995 is when I purchased those buildings, and it took us many years to rechange that neighborhood. Because as you know, if you've been in that neighborhood as long as I've been in there, it was a major problem on that block. So we spent a lot of money, a lot of time in cleaning up that block, and it's been very good for the longest time. The last few years, although there's been issues because we're having a lot of drug dealers, we're having a lot of people hanging out on the corner. I hired private security in order to keep my tenants safe on that block. As far as these gentlemen are concerned, this is a bad deal because in the document that my attorney just read to you, there's also another clause in there that you can't put strip clubs or bars and nightclubs in that spot also, because there's a reason, because this is what the Alex Mascaris's main concern is. Now, the thing is, if he gets away with this and they allow this to happen here, the next thing is if these people don't make it there, you're going to have a club there. And you know the club is going to destroy the neighborhood as it's done already in the past. Now, that store can be rented, but the problem is they're asking such an exuberant amount. And the thing is with these cannabis stores, they're paying any number because a lot of landlords don't really want them. I had my opportunity, as my attorney told you, the bicycle shop that's right next door to that shop, I was empty for a pretty long time. I lowered the rent and I got a decent tenant. You think that they were waiting online, cannabis stores, to go in there, and I didn't do it because I didn't want to violate the agreement that I had with my brother as far as having this type of operation there. All you're going to do is, yeah, you may have nice people, good people who want to smoke the stuff, but you also have the people that hang out on the corner, the guy who's dealing the drugs on the corner. You also have that type of clientele that's going to be coming around. And of course, they're going to be right in front of the building. They hang out in front of the building. They're going to be smoking in front of the building. And as far as he's telling you about it's a dead block, it's a pretty good block. The restaurant on the corner is doing well. And because of the situation we have with the X amount of people hanging out, the drug dealers and stuff like that, I had a gym in there who rented 3 of my stores. He actually vacated 2 only because of that reason, because they're hanging out in front of the buildings. They're always there. So you put a cannabis store, they're going to be there. This gentleman here, he may be the owner, but he's not going to be the guy that's going to be sitting behind that counter watching that store day and night to make sure that there is nobody outside. This is a big mistake because we worked hard to keep that block clean. And so far, we've done a pretty good job. By letting these guys in, we're going to go back to square one again over there, and it's not going to be nice. Just like the bird park that was next door to my building, we used to take care of it. We used to keep it clean. Now the church has the rights to the park, and they lock it because of that reason of the tremendous amount of hangout and people just trying to get high in that corner. And I've already spoke with the pastor in the church, and they're definitely against it because they also help the homeless and outreach for the people that are in need. This is a big no if this gets by.
Thank you, Chris. So just to make sure everyone's on the level, a community board is advisory only. And the process that has been rolled out by the Office of Cannabis Management has not been very even and controlled very well. We provide an opinion, but we also do not litigate. We also do not deal with the legal issues. That is something that needs to be worked out by the applicant and whoever else is involved. However, the board does provide from time to time, depending on the situation, an opinion. What we have seen in the past is we have given opinions and OCM has not paid much attention to them. So that is a reality. I just wanted to make sure people were aware. So thank you, Chris. I have Rashir. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong.
No, you did not, ma'am. It's correct.
Welcome.
Hi. I just want to introduce myself. You guys can call me Richie. I'm not from the neighborhood, but I have worked in the neighborhood. I'm a licensed occupational therapist. I have done home care in that area. I've had clients and stuff in that area, so I kind of understand that area. And as far as the Mr. Chris is concerned, I understand his qualms. And listen, I'm guessing I'm the younger generation. Commercial real estate is very tough now. A lot of the big corporations have destroyed small businesses. And a legal dispensary is more of an economic driver. And those concerns are there, but I think with a collaborative approach with the small business owner, they have every incentive to do things right by the community. Like they're not big corporations. They're not here to suck the capital dry out of the community. They they have every incentive to make sure everything goes right. So I think a lot of that I understand some of the fear, but a collaborative approach with the small business owner is great. The backbone of the American economy was built on small businesses. So I do urge the board and everyone to reconsider small business, especially dispensary. It's an economic driver. It's the new thing, and I think these guys are going to be great. I've actually personally visited their location in Long Island City, and they're great. So, and I'm telling you this as just a person that's worked in the area. I've been in the area. I've had clients in that area. I don't do much home care there now, but that's all I want to say. That's it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Mhm.
Thank you. Alan,
Are they still on the line, so I don't, the attorney and the,
they were moved back into the attendee section. Did you want to ask some questions?
I'd like to know, how long have they known about it?
Okay, Nellie, are you able to bring them back? If they're still here?
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
Are you able to bring back, Nicholas
And Chris.
and Chris?
Yes, I can. Hold on one
And
second.
Nicholas and Chris, if you hear us, we're asking you to come back on for some questions from.
And if
the
it's
committee.
possible, I can reply to them because I actually know Christmas stories for many years, like I know his nephew. This is a family matter there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a, so that's to admit.
Okay.
Hi, Chris. We're asking for Nick to come back on as well. He's coming over. Nick, we're bringing you over.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're bringing over, Nick again.
Yeah,
One of the committee members had a question for you. And then I see that, we also have Peter with his hand raised. Okay, Alan, they're on if you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, thank you. I was just curious, how long have you known that this was coming to us and you hadn't sent this? I don't think I've seen in the Dropbox, the petition that you speak about. So I'm just curious why you come at the last minute. I mean, we could have been sent to the office a long time ago that you were objecting to this in some form.
I'm sorry, is this, are you addressing me, sir?
You or your lawyer, the question is, how long have you known that this
We just found out about 3 weeks ago, and that's why I hired the attorney to go after them. Actually, it was one of the Alex's friends who live across the street in the building who notified us and says, a cannabis store is going in over here. That's when we found out. And actually, when we found out, my son found out, for argument's sake. My son had found out, was about 3 weeks ago, and that's when we know, and that's where we started the action right away. And he, I guess it's Nick, I'm not sure, one of the brothers, they had a conversation with my son. They called him up and they said they weren't aware at all, especially of the lease, which states in the lease that there was no cannabis store, no drug paraphernalia store, and any way it can be opened up on that block.
Okay,
And
thank you. Thank you. Raul?
Just to add, if I may.
Go ahead, Nicholas.
Yes, just going off of what Chris said, we were recently retained, but also this is an ongoing litigation matter that we can't really get too into the details with, as we also have a hearing next week. So I just wanted to leave it at that.
Thank you. Raul?
Mr. Trotter, it shows here in the lease agreement that Alexander is the president of Hell's Kitchen Inc., I guess the owner of the building.
The management company.
Or the management company. So are you alleging that he doesn't have the legal right to sign it, or that the management company is not Hell's Kitchen Inc.?
Yes, that is correct. We are alleging that. We also have not seen a copy of the lease agreement as well. For whatever reason, my client, who is a shareholder of the corporation that is the landlord of the property, never received a copy.
Go ahead.
So they have a shareholders agreement between them, then as the management company. The Alex from Sinai is in charge of this particular property. He's the shareholder that's responsible for signing the leases, taking care of the property, collecting the rents. They have their inner pearls, which I've become aware of when I received a notice. Actually, today I got one because the other one was addressed to a different LLC business that I was going to apply with, but they applied. And their particular statement was that not that the lease was signed by someone incorrect or didn't represent them, but that they had an internal clause in there that says no head shops, strip clubs, as he's repeating constantly. We don't fall under a head shop. We are a legal licensed cannabis dispensary from the state of New York. So whatever you think that we're no illicit material, illicit drugs, we also do not sell illicit drugs. We sell legal recreational cannabis licensed by the state of New York. And if you are gonna single out a business type, for whatever reason, I believe that falls under some other type of prejudice.
Well, there are use cases for certain.
Understood, but we don't
Certain
match,
zoning,
we
for
don't
certain
match
zoning, understood.
their qualification.
Nellie, are you able to bring over Peter? Who has his hand raised?
Another family, that's his son.
The public meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris or Mr. Alex?
Peter, Chris is the father, and Alex is, and Chris is the.
Hi, Peter, you're on, welcome.
Oh, if I may also, sorry.
So Nicholas, let's let Peter have a chance and then you can respond afterwards, thank you.
Yes.
Peter?
Yes, how you doing? Could you hear me?
Yes, we can, thank you.
How's it going?
We're good.
Good. I'm constantly on that corner on 39th and 9th. And the gentleman that's speaking for the cannabis store, I do know him for many years. So it's me that he's referring to as far as knowing us. He's stressing that it's a kind of like a family dispute and a family issue. It's not. And my father, Chris, had said, and I'm going to reiterate, we had the same opportunity to put a cannabis store there as well, and we did not. We're afraid of the crime that goes on that corner. It's not really patrolled often by the precinct. So as far as the drug use, as far as hanging out in front of the building, as far as the robberies are concerned, that's all going to skyrocket. And it's not like it's going on 8th Avenue or 6th Avenue. It's going on a block that doesn't really get heavy patrol. And that's the concern. That's why we don't want it there. If they had a location on 9th Avenue, then by all means. But when you put something like this in the corner, in the shadows, that's when all the stuff, the bad things happen. And that's what we're afraid of.
Thank you, Peter. Nellie, we also have Chaya, if you could bring Chaya over. Nicholas, you had something else you wanted to add?
Yes, just one quick point as for the shareholder agreement. Never mind the prohibited use provision of it, but the shareholder agreement is between Chris and James, James being Alex's father. If Alex signed this lease agreement, it's still considered invalid.
Okay, thank you. Chaya, hope I'm saying your name right. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I live in the area and I just wanted to, I don't know how far along in the process this license is, but I just wanted to raise the concern that I know that there's been a pause on closing the illegal cannabis shops. We still have one of the highest representations of illegal shops. And I'm really concerned about bringing in another shop, albeit a legal one, when there are so many, it's still out of control in the area.
Thank you.
Can I have a
Yeah, please.
The legal ones help us actually raise a case to get a lot of the illicit ones shut down. Because that, we use that to go to the sheriffs and tell them like, look, but they value the legal one. So then we, like we did with our Queen store, point out the other ones.
Point out the other ones, and we try
Because it
to.
obviously kills
Okay.
our business.
That sounds plausible, but we already have legal shops in the area and therefore that should have caused them to shut down. There are still a few hundred illegal stores in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Chaya. So, task force, what we have here is similar to a situation we had before where there was some, dispute between, a landlord and an applicant. Clearly, this is not for us to work out. I'm not sure what the timing is, but, I think that it is prudent, for you as an applicant to work out because even if we were to opine based on what you presented, you may still have legal issues. Any other thoughts from the committee?
Well, my thinking is that the legal issues are really don't really pertain to us. The question at hand to us is whether we recommend this applicant to move forward or not. That's really the only thing we can opine on.
Right, my point is that without clarity of whether or not this, lease is valid and binding, why are we opining? That's why. And it's a standard.
I think, yeah, I mean, we've had many, or not many, we've had some applicants where, for various reasons, the status of their application is unclear, and may not proceed for reasons unrelated to us. And we have still given an opinion. I guess I would say one thing you often touch on is that our primary purpose as a community board is to look at the location, since that is what we know is our neighborhood. We know know it down to every block. Is it a location that makes sense? And I think that's, I don't see. And then also we just do some general evaluation of, is this operator seem competent, trustworthy, aware of the laws? So I think that's, again, we should just make our judgment. And if Chris and Peter prevail in the court of law, like that is the judgment, but we just do not know. Like what judge I have no idea.
Yeah, and then we go to court, we go to years and years and years.
But our goal is the, location, and then just, maybe some assessment of general, was the presentation indicative of a competent and trustworthy operator? And that's really all we can base our judgment on.
I would add to that, had I heard overwhelming, testimony from neighbors being against it or for it, that would definitely make me rethink, but here.
I don't have a written statement, but I do have the president of the Midtown South Police Precinct Council, Brian Weber, who had to pick his mother up from the airport, who wanted to be here in person today. He spoke on the last applicant around this location, and his concern is the location and the crime. But again, he's not here. He hasn't been able to address that because he's at the airport. The other person, which was alluded to by Chris, is Metro Baptist Church, which is around the corner. Tiffany, who is the pastor, was unable to join. She has also spoken out against anything in this location because of all the issues they have. So again, it's completely me relaying that information, but there are people that haven't gone there. I was just trying to find out if there was a thought from the committee of whether or not this should be resolved ahead of time to come back and have a conversation once that's resolved, but it sounds like I'm hearing from you that you want to move forward on all timing. Tina?
Wait, I'm sorry, with your mask, I'm sorry, I had difficulty.
Oh, I'm
hearing
sorry.
Some things you said, so I have a question.
Please, and I will articulate a little bit better.
Because frankly, I am curious, even though someone cannot be here tonight, I can understand that things come up and it prevents them. But if we have knowledge of somebody having an opinion who lives on that block or is aware of that block, such as a church that's on the block, or did you say police?
So Brian Weber, who is a public member of of this board, he is also president of the Midtown South Police Precinct Council. He came in person and spoke against the applicant that applied for a license on this block previously. Previous applicant, has nothing to do with you. And again, as Stanford said, we're
very into, he's the son of a policeman. I'm very supportive. We work with the police officers.
the person's not a cop that I'm talking about. The person is the police precinct community council.
Oh, okay.
But my point is that we opine on location, and location
Yes,
is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just hear.
location is what is of primary concern for us, all other things being equal, meaning an operator that demonstrates they understand the law, that they will comply, etc. So sorry, Tina, go ahead.
So this person said that this was not the church, and this person said that this is not a proper location for a cannabis store.
We had, for this location, we had 3 members of the public, 2 of which have an affiliation to this board. Joe Restuccia came to that meeting again and spoke against it. His office is around the corner on 40th Street across from Metro Baptist Church. Again, they're not here, so they weren't able to make it. We don't have them speaking on it, but the location had problems. This is a similar situation as we had with London Terrace, where it was the location, not the operator. The second operator that came to us probably wasn't as good as the operator that we had reviewed previously, but we had still denied it on that application because of the
Is it
The community.
possible to, I mean, frankly, these are people who are very knowledgeable,
Mhm.
you're mentioning. Is it possible to delay? Or are we up against?
We can ask, do you have a clock?
I do,
Okay.
3 o'clock.
Right, doing on the first and this is the
This is
last,
the latest.
this is the last thing that
That is what OCM is waiting. And actually, when we had informed you guys, and then they said you have to come in. So that we took the first available date possible.
They were sitting on this information because we had to switch just a clerical thing. So then they caught on to it when we were at the last moment and they said you have to go. That's why we notified when I got in touch with Jesse. And then they got us on, it was either this one or March 20th. So we luckily got on.
But our previous notification happened months ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
Tina?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, it's not ideal, but it is possible to put this on the March calendar. So frankly, I would like to hear from those people and hear what they have to say. I just feel personally like I don't have enough information. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you don't have to be sorry. Sanford?
Yeah, I think it does, we assess location, a big thing we do assess is, community feedback. And I would say, I think this is not the same as London Terrace, because, a staggering, like,
100.
shocking number of people came, for that.
Opposition.
And people also who are not regular attendees of the board, who just felt very strongly about that one shop. I think we have heard from Brian and from Joe about, I don't think their concerns for this would be different than for, so I think we could take those into account, but I don't think they would be different than for the other, shop that was proposed in a similar location. I think, as they said in their own statements, at the time when the previous operator presented to us about a shop in a similar location, it was about the location for them, so their concerns about the location would be the same. It was not about the operator at the time, and therefore I don't think it would be about the operator this time either.
So it still exists, basically.
Yeah.
Objection.
We have obviously some varying opinions here. Am I hearing anyone that wants to make a resolution around how we move with this? And I'm Rodney, I can see wheels turning.
No, I'm really torn. I think, yeah, just torn. I like the presentation. I like everything you guys have said. I'm just torn. I'd like to hear more from the community and not necessarily Joe or Bill.
Brian.
People who really live there. But again, I'm just torn.
No, Brian does live there, but.
Yeah, I'm just torn.
Yes.
Like, I don't want, it was good to hear you guys say, like, you don't care about the tension about the landlord stuff, because in my head, I'm like, I don't wanna get involved in that.
We're
But
not.
Yeah, I know, but
It's not for us to resolve.
yeah, but I'm thinking, I thought like you, like, why do we even discuss it, let them figure out, come back when it's a clean slate, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a clean slate from you guys. I don't know. Yeah, I hear more.
Sanford?
I would make a motion to approve with conditions. And I think probably our condition, I think, would be probably a earlier closing time than 2 AM. Is the main thing that comes to mind for me. Midnight possibly comes to mind. I think we've done that for some other stores. And then I don't know if there are any other conditions people would like to add in terms of security, since I know I think that is a legitimate concern on this block. But yeah, I would say this has been in terms of presentation, we had no concerns. I don't think anyone had concerns in terms of that you will follow the law and run a responsible shop. And in the absence of, there will always be, I think some people have concerns with the shop in any area, but in the absence of, a significant outpouring of community concern like we did see from London Terrace and we have seen in other locations, I think it makes sense to proceed with this application as an approved condition.
Okay, so
I
we have, you
second
second.
that motion with a midnight close.
Okay, so any discussion on that? Any additional stipulations? Conditions? Okay, all those in favor? Anyone opposed?
So, wait, were you for or against? For. Okay, so that's a 4-2.
Oh, you switched?
No.
It
was late.
I was gonna say no.
It's a 4-2.
Okay. Okay, so that passes. So how this works is this is not the binding, comment that comes from the community board, as you probably know from, your days of liquor licenses.
Yep.
This goes to full board, or full board meetings the first Wednesday of the month, and that gets voted to full board.
Fine,
Okay,
thank you so much.
thank you.
Midnight closing if
Yeah,
you're
you
okay.
just, you do agree to the midnight. close.
Yeah.
But we will have a draft of that letter out, a week before that meeting.
Thank you. We welcome you all from the community to stop by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Nicholas, I see your hands raised, but, we've already voted, we've moved on, so thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye. Good night.
Okay, so we do have another item on the agenda. Nellie, I'm wondering if you are able to help us out in the Dropbox. There is, the proposal for the changes to our application. I didn't know if you're able to bring that up for us.
Sure, give me 1 second.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Tina, I have a very low grade fever, so I'm just being extremely cautious, but I tested negative for COVID, negative for the flu, negative.
No,
for
it's
strep.
fine. I got all the info I needed.
Okay.
So thanks. It's just that when you were turning that way, it was
Yes.
hard.
Exactly.
I appreciate that. It's always nice when people are like concerned
Oh, well,
for
that's the main reason why.
the
I'm
health
very-
of others.
It's so unusual.
Well, I went to the health center today, because I knew I had a slight fever. Hard to tell when you get hot flushes too, if it's really a fever, but, it was just very slight. And I said, look, nothing's showing up positive, what are your thoughts? She goes, something's probably happening. I doubt that you have anything that's, gonna be really bad, but, just be cautious and don't work remote. I'm like, yes, and, wear a mask. Okay, so just to tee this up, so one of the things that we talked about, in previous months is, we realized that, perhaps there might be a disconnect in terms of the information that we're gathering, and how we're conveying to the rest of the board this process, because it is very different from BLF. And what we have done that's very similar to BLF is we have this application that we ask the applicants to fill out that's specific to our board questions. And so it hasn't been reviewed, and Alan was really nice enough to go through the whole thing and start off with some suggestions. So Alan, if you're able to lead the conversation in terms of your recommendations, and then we can discuss what we might want to add, change, etc.
Well, thank you. But initially, I thought that we needed more information regarding what was going on inside the store, who was actually managing it, and their information. There's a lot of times we have people who are license holders, oh, we're gonna get a manager, he's gonna be in, we get no information about that, but they are assuring us that they're competent. So we'd like to get more information about whether they're gonna be there, that's an important factor. And then there's some other things just about what's going on in the store. So we get information from the old application, but we have a dozen employees. We don't know how many employees are going to be in the store at any particular time, whether they're going to have more employees certain hours. So I think how the business is operating, these employees could be delivery people. They could be people who are cleaning the floors. So who's actually in the store, who are the salespeople, who's managing that sort of thing.
Okay, so now if we can scroll down a little bit, and look a little bit of that verbiage that Alan had added. So this part here is just the technical stuff. Type of application that should stay there. Do they have a fully executed lease? Those things are important. but now it's clear.
Is this the document that was in Dropbox, the one?
Yes.
You revised it? That's-
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Yes,
And then there were just some, what I thought was some missing, yes or no questions that just needed to be filled out.
okay, so that we know that they're submitted, so that, okay,
That's not the document I downloaded.
It's not the
Was
same?
was that today?
It didn't have the red, right?
It didn't have the red,
Yeah, I
yes,
saw it.
yes, no,
I saw it with the red, no?
no,
I had another one.
no, I haven't.
There's so there's the original
Oh, I
one,
think that's what it is,
There's
that's
the
Jesse
original
said,
one,
that's the one.
and
Yeah, I
then
don't
there's
think-
the one that Alan had said, it is.
So you probably got the one Jesse said, that's
The ones I got.
Okay.
But either way, these suggestions from the first part of the application are common sense, it's getting some specific clarity. And here you wanted to have the contact person adding that, I think that's important. Identifying what type of license it is, again, it's a little redundant from the question above that identifies what they're applying for, but this tells what type of applicant they are. And again, changing the language to applicant from owner makes a lot of sense. Okay, so these questions here, again, I think originally we were asking the questions of things that were written in the law, where they could or couldn't go, and we're asking them to confirm those questions. I think it's still valid to ask those questions. I don't know if anyone thinks that we need to be expanding. Again,
Your question, how you plan to stay updated on changing regulations?
that's a great question. We should add that. How are you,
How do you plan to stay updated on changing cannabis regulations and ensure continuous compliance?
great. And stay compliant. Okay. Okay, if we can scroll down a little bit more, Nellie. Thank you. Yes.
If I can, first of all, Alan, thank you so much for making the changes. I didn't see them. Because I worked off of the original document. But what troubled me about this document, I was looking at it from a small business applicant, as if I were applying for
Okay.
it. And my first thing is this a friendly application? Is it simple? Is it fast? Is it bureaucratic? Is there a lot of red tape? And the first thing I noticed is that it's 11 pages long. For an application that is awfully long, to get support from a community board. So the first thing I would want to do is see where can we cut back, where it's not 11 pages long, maybe 5 or 6, half of it.
So who here's on BLP? Your application is how long?
Long.
It's
I
54
think
pages.
part of the problem why it's so long is that there's so much space in between the questions.
It's 11 pages long.
Oh, the BLP? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
DLT
it's
is
equal.
11 pages long as well.
Do most of the applicants for BLP? I sort of, I'm not on BLP, but I sort of perceive that there's a group of basically neighborhood lawyers who filled out these applications many times.
Yeah.
Versus I often, sometimes people have lawyers, or consultants, but sometimes it is a small business owner filling out the application themselves. Is it BLP, do you see that, or is it pretty much entirely lawyers?
I think it's primarily lawyers, but I think the applicants do fill it out. I mean, sometimes you get handwritten applications, and for the most part, I think the applicants fill them out because the lawyers don't know exactly what they're doing. They may review it afterwards and say, no, maybe you should answer it this way, that way. But I think for the most part, my impression is that the operators are, but to your question about a small business owner, and most of the people that we get at are repeat operators. I mean, some of these guys own several businesses, so they've been
I
doing
see.
these applications.
Which is different from cannabis
this.
stores,
Yeah,
where you're
yeah,
not allowed to
Yeah,
have more
yeah,
than one.
I mean, these guys are a different story, but for the most part, I think most of what, I think that, from my house that we've seen, are people who are first time coming into it, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think part of the difficulty maybe that we're having with some of the questions is that some of them aren't engaging somebody who is more cognizant about what the whole operation, they don't have a consultant, they don't have, so we encourage them to do that, maybe that should be part of the form letter that goes out to the prospective operator, that please be aware that, you know, you're gonna be putting out an application, and if you need, you know, seek out consultant or somebody to help you, something like that, because otherwise they come in here and sometimes we don't, you know, we just don't have,
I also have problems with that introductory email in terms of what it says
in the first page.
or doesn't say, but, there's an introductory email that goes out.
Yeah.
And it's, I have some troubles with that one as well. But
do you think
I'm
we
hoping
should-
that we can discuss that here.
We should try with an application that can be filled out comfortably by a small business owner
Right.
without needing a lawyer or consultant.
Yeah,
Well, you know, as a small business owner, and I own my own business, we need to fill out a lot of paperwork. We need to, you know, I mean sanitation, FDA, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, you'll be, so it's not like they're coming across something like this. And haven't been through any kind of process, so. I mean, you know, if we can tailor it down to keep the gist, it certainly
Absolutely.
helps, you know, certainly helps.
I think
yeah,
it's important to think about what are like the most important questions to us and things that, you know, aren't being verified elsewhere or aren't being asked elsewhere or are really specific to our community board concerns.
Well, to that, if I may, that's why on the other page, on the page that goes out.
So you talking about which page here?
You know, the page that Jesse sends.
The introductory
Introductory page, there's another one in.
it's a one page.
We'll go back to it, but just, Sanford brought that up. What seems to me, what's important is what's the neighborhood think about it? So oftentimes, we ask the same question, have you reached out, have you done this, have you done that? Oh, yeah, we sent this out, we never got any response back. So you'll see when we go back to the next page, I indicated that, please submit, you know, in writing, that who you reached out to, what was the contact?
Yes.
What was the
So can you
date?
scroll
blah, blah,
down,
blah.
Nellie? It's on the next page, I think, you can scroll just a little bit.
Yeah, and I almost prefer people just like forward us the emails that way, you know, I mean, there's a privacy concern with that, but it's a little weird to be like, hey, you know, I know a lot of block associations are resistant to you, but like, tell us. I feel like the applicant is always gonna, you know, put in a positive light, which of course, they're the applicant, and then it's like a weird game of like, are they overselling how positive it was? or-
Besides
Versus if they
privacy,
just send us the emails directly,
besides privacy,
we make our own
we
judgment.
could be flooded with a lot of emails. I do think that consolidating, because there is.
Well, we get emails when they just go on our Dropbox and then we can, you know, see are there, you know, glance at them and get a sense of the feedback. Like see their email and like what the reply was.
So Nellie, for BLP, do our emails sent to the office from the public, are they forwarded in the Dropbox to committee members?
Sorry, repeat the question.
I asked if for BLP, if emails that are sent by the public are forwarded in the Dropbox to committee members?
Yes, when people from the community send in the comments for applications, I do add them into the Dropbox for committee members to see, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, Sanford.
And they're very helpful.
Okay,
Yeah,
so here we see, as Alan mentioned,
Wait, so just to be fair, this is something slightly different, which is not people contacting the board directly, but. Because the applicant is their responsibility to proactively reach out to people, which is, and then those people, maybe they just don't respond, in many cases they don't respond, but if they do respond. I'd like to see that response, and I think that's also a fair playing field, because I think every applicant is going to get some negative feedback. There just, you know, are many people who don't want a cannabis shop on their block, but. We'll have a fair comparison, it'll be like, this person got 50 emails, hopefully not, I don't want 50 emails, but. Or this person got one email, you know, then we can sort of fairly compare.
So,
between
Nellie,
applicants.
so I'm amending that question. Do we usually forward emails that are received by the applicant in response to their postings or outreach?
Some applicants will include whatever they receive, from whatever outreach they do, they will include it in their packets that they send to me.
Okay, that answers that.
And I'm sure it's all positive.
Yeah. So, as Alan had, expanded just a touch on this question, list who you've reached out to, perhaps it's also,
Yeah.
please provide whatever feedback you've received. But the check and balance on that is the actual, block associations and other people, if they show up,
They feel strong,
they
yeah.
can say whether or not somebody did outreach or not. And we've heard that on occasion.
Yes, we certainly have. And I would say also, I do think this is adding more to what the applicant sends, so I wanna be very sensitive to that rules concern of like. I don't wanna make this a burden, so if we're adding this step, adding additional stuff to the email, and then I add even more. But please forward us your other emails, we should be sensitive to, okay, it's 11 pages, or somewhere else that we. Like, I think these questions about like, are you within a distance, like OCM is already verifying that, they've already had to. Foursquare that probably 7 times in 7 other places. I don't know if we need to, make them check. those
What
off
is
again.
option one? What does that mean? I've seen that pop up on the old applications, and then I was wondering, what are they seeing where they say option one or it writes option one? We don't know, right?
I had it as a negative comment as well, what the hell is that?
Well, I think
a
is this a Google Doc that people fill out and it pops up something else, Nellie? Is that how it works? Do you know?
But I don't, for BLP, we don't use Google Docs, so I don't know the answer to that. For BLP, we use PDF filler.
Okay,
And
to fill out.
our document is a PDF, so I am
Okay.
not sure.
So the option thing doesn't make any sense, but what I would say to the comment about condensing, or the questions that are. Things that OCM would already have to verify, I think there's some validity in having them know that those are concerns. Perhaps it's consolidating the question. Have you confirmed that you are not in the vicinity, blah, 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 as well as not, not too close to too many other blah, 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 all in one question.
Right.
And then instead of it being 5 separate questions, it's one question of things that they need to know for the regulation. But also, things that we wanna focus on as well. I mean, that may be a way to shorten it, have it all in one question, just asking the questions about the 500 feet. Any other social services in the area, all in one question. That could be a way to condense something.
I mean, frankly, that is something that I personally look at first. That's extremely important to me. I've looked at these questions and frankly, I guess I can scrutinize it more, but I don't think that, as far as I'm concerned, there are irrelevant questions. I find the more information I have regarding the business, the more prepared I am. So from a narcissistic point of view, I like the questions. I think that this is a serious business. I do. I mean, it's cannabis. Maybe I'm too old, but the bottom line is I think that anyone who's opening a cannabis shop does have to show certain, or provide information for me to be comfortable with that.
I agree with you, but, and also, to the point of whether or not it's cumbersome for an applicant, Alan, as you know, by having a business. You have to fill out a ton of paperwork. If you're a small business, it's required, and if that's part of the learning curve of people that are starting out in business, what do you need to fill out? What do you need to have, et cetera? I think that this is probably the least cumbersome of documentation that an applicant has to go through in order to prove that they are eligible for selling legal cannabis.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I can give you an example, like, look at questions 10 and 11.
If we can scroll back up, Nellie, to 10 and 11, thank you.
I'll use those 2 questions as an example, both of we can consolidate one question and make it a friendlier, business friendlier question. For example, the first one says, do you have a fully executed lease? That to me implies, oh my God, if I don't have a fully executed lease, I can't move forward with this application. But that's not the case.
No.
It is good enough to have a letter of intent. Having a fully executed lease means you have to sign an agreement, put money with a landlord.
Yes, that's what,
And we don't, that is not required.
every applicant that we've had has had a fully executed lease, or we
Not
had,
everybody.
we hadn't,
There have
we
been-
didn't have them come here. Jesse did not have them on the
There have
schedule.
been one or two applicants who come with a letter of intent, subject to approval of their license.
Well, possibly,
And that
is a possibility that they might have been wanting to, but
Yeah.
so that's out of how many applicants. But the intent, as far, if you want to change the policy, that's a different story. But the policy, I think, right now is that they have to have a mix of people.
Okay, let me step back. The whole idea behind cannabis originally was to help people who got themselves in trouble, who ended up in jail, and who, because they were cannabis users and they're getting out, in the state of New York was trying to help them, is trying to help them by giving them first priority to get the license. But by putting stuff like a fully executed lease, that means they're gonna need a lot of money to.
We're not, we just ask yes or no. If they say no,
But why even have that question when they can have a letter of intent instead? Which doesn't require them to have money up front.
I disagree. I think it's a very valid thing to see if somebody's serious about whether or not they're moving into the industry.
What if we have a question that says, does the applicant have a fully executed lease
And if
or
so-
letter of intent,
Letter of
or
intent.
neither? And then we have three options. Fully executed lease, letter of intent, neither. That gives us all the same information,
One question, instead of two questions, one question.
but makes it clear to the applicants that either is acceptable,
Exactly.
which I think
Or
is
she's
in line with
providing
our.
more information about where they are in the process.
Because our goal is to understand, our goal is not to, we will hear from you, as long as you have control of the
That was
premises,
what
the
you
language
had.
I heard, which letter of intent also meets.
Yeah, and-
Letter of intent is acceptable, fully executed
Yeah, I
is
just wasn't
acceptable.
reading this as this question as a question is not one that is assuming that they can't go forward with that.
I think it is potentially
To me, it
confusing,
does.
given that, like, for example, about several of the other questions, like, please, like the ones about being within a certain distance of a, presumably if you answer, yes, I am, then we're gonna be like, no. So it's not, if I'm an applicant, I might look at some of these questions as, oh, this question is just a filter, and if I answer the wrong answer, I'll be rejected. I think, applicants who have more experience with the process, or just, I don't know, less neurotic, maybe
So-
like, it's fine, but I wanna, be as friendly as possible.
To your suggestion, I mean, I don't think the BLP questionnaire is friendly, just FYI, but,
That's another issue.
but I'm just saying, it's. Our job in all things is to represent the community, which means protect the community interest,
Which also includes businesses.
which includes
Small
businesses.
businesses.
Agreed, but again, those people who are applying, who may not already be operating within our community, they're not part of our community, they have an objective that's about their business. They may not, or they may be aligned with the community interest. That's what we're here to find out. So I don't have a problem with questions seem to be probing, because that's what we need to do, is to probe, so that we can at least demonstrate to the community at large that we've asked the questions that may be relevant to how they'll be impacted if this business goes forward. Yes, Rodney?
So for me, on the application and the general introductory email, I would just want it to be more explicit about our expectations. Something about, I want them to have gone out and made contact to the community, because I want to see that you've talked to people. That's where my concern is, like, what's your feedback? What have you heard? So for example, I think the London Terrace, I think no matter what, it's always gonna be difficult. However, where the owner of that space made messed up is that he waited to the last minute. And so how can I, as a community board member, when community people come in and say, oh, we just learned about it, So I'm automatically going to say, well, that's not right. So I think, getting out and sort of just being more explicit about our expectations that you will contact or at least put the best efforts talking to the community, show me that you've done something. So that's why I'm okay with this questions about the school. It shows me that you've done something, that I know there's a school there, I know there's a church down the block that's 700 feet, not 500 feet. Those things show me that you've been out in the neighborhood too. That means a lot.
So what I'm hearing is in the opening, in the preamble, is to be more clear about what we want to get out of it. So having a statement saying, the objective of this application is for us to better understand your operation and whether or not it's a good fit for our community. The questions in this upcoming body are going to focus on whether or not you have done outreach, have received feedback, as well as some technical questions about your qualifications. Something to that effect?
Yeah, I think that works. The other thing that came up just hearing Alan is also that I do think that they come in with this application is not a real sort of document. That kind of disturbs me as well. We've had several come in and say, like, the hours will be this.
Yeah.
They do a presentation, the hours might be that, but you know what, as I'm talking, I wanna make this. I think, that doesn't work for me either. I mean, so I don't know how we say that.
We can add a saying the most, just truly, the most important things in your application for our evaluation are like. I would honestly give people a timeline, like notify people 2 weeks in advance of the meeting,
Timeline.
as soon as possible,
Mhm.
and at least like either 2 weeks in advance or as soon as you receive it, if it's less than 2 weeks,
Yeah.
that they can contact our Jesse.
Agreed.
Good suggestion.
And then I think probably we should come with a list, but I think it'd be short because, if you give people everything, then they don't actually know what's important. Like 2 or 3 things, I think that's one. Community input is genuinely important to us. Having accurate hours is pretty important to us. I mean, I think probably those are the most important. Maybe the address is important, but that's self-evident.
Eliminate everything else.
Well, no, but I
We
do
can get
think,
down to 3 pages.
But we can be clear in our initial email, these are the things that you need to like really,
focus on.
Yeah, that is.
have very clear answers on that are like not, and then,
Agreed.
yeah.
But I think also to Sanford's suggestion for 11 and 12, or 10, 11, and 12, ask it with a grid. Can you, please describe the lease you have? Is it fully executed? Is a letter of intent? Please upload whatever it is that you have.
Actually, I think it might be even better, perhaps, let me suggest this. How about just deleting question 10 and 11, say, please upload the letter of intent or executed lease of your intended location. That's it,
It accomplishes the same thing.
but we can eliminate question 10. That reduces it. I'm trying to get this down to,
I do think it's the spacing as well, so even the line, like,
okay, yeah.
1, 2.
But we don't need question 10, just question 11, turn it around with letter of intent first, which is friendlier than executed lease, which means money. Would be better, I think.
I'm okay with that.
All right, good.
Okay, and so Nellie, sorry if we can move back down. Oh, sorry, Alan, you want to stay here?
So I also, this is basically a change of policy in a way, because the wording here, applicants without, and without is highlighted, bold, and accentuated. Proof of control of premises will not be considered by MCB4 at this time.
Which has been the policy,
Yeah,
correct?
so are these suggestions that we?
Wait,
need to
that
go-
was actually I was never clear about that. Does that, I don't know. I don't think this is a legal question. I think it's about how our board interprets
Right,
it.
I
Does
don't.
our board interpret controlled premises meaning? A lawyer might have different, opinion, but it's not really about what lawyer thinks, it's what we
Right.
think. The control of the premises to us, has it meant in the past,
It was a fully
like
executed,
executed
it
lease?
wasn't fully
And then
executed.
that's.
I asked
and
about
that's the
that, I was
application.
told there was a letter of intent or executed.
So,
Okay.
yes,
So I
you have to have control of the premises. right?
So, cause the question is when Jesse schedules these things.
Yeah.
Has Jesse been, and Jesse has held off on scheduling applicants until they've met certain criteria.
Yes,
And I just, and those criteria included control of premises, and I've
Yes.
been has Jesse's understanding of control of the premises when making that scheduling decision meant fully executed lease, or has it just meant letter of
So I
intent
think
is also fine?
it'll be important, well, it'll be important for us to clarify, when he comes back from vacation, we will double check, because again, you are correct, it will, change a policy.
But
So
I think
if that's the case, then these are suggestions that we just need to go to exec for their review and because it's setting a policy for how we go forward.
Yep.
So this is really a
they should
suggestion.
probably all go through that.
It- I,
Is there
I,
anything else in this?
Well, it would be.
It's
I make
it's advisory.
I totally get it. I make the suggestion from my understanding in conversations I've had with Jesse about this, that a letter of intent and or executed is acceptable.
Let's
He
clarify.
might have changed his mind since I had that conversation with him, but let's ask. I'm okay with it asking.
Another thing to keep in mind is that at the beginning, there was a huge flood of applicants.
Yes, right.
So I could imagine when there's many people, I would probably prioritize. And if there's a huge flood again, there's some new deadline or something, I would prioritize people who have fully executed lease.
So
They're
say-
in more urgent need of examination. But I think we can say, we've seen one applicant, not too much.
So Sanford, you're 100% correct. That was the main reason why it was a fully executed lease. We were not talking to someone who just was toying with the idea and thinking about it. Because we had such a flood of applicants at the beginning of this process. So I think it's important to clarify that with Jesse. If it is the case that it was really about scheduling and trying to prioritize those that were very serious about moving forward, we can rethink having those questions in this manner. And otherwise, what we can do is make those adjustments and changes once we're all comfortable with what they are in its entirety, present it to full board for a vote on the new questionnaire, which speaks to the policy that we would have.
Right, I think when you added that to full book was at one of the last meetings, a lot of the pushback that we got on a particular one was that, well, what's your, what's it all about? What are you basing your opinions on? So I think the more we give to the full board about what we're basing our decisions on, the happier everybody's gonna be.
Okay, so let's move down just a little bit more and then obviously,
Question number 12, please.
back to 12, sorry.
That question is asked twice in this application.
Contact person, information, name, phone number.
The question I saw from what I downloaded, which might not be the one you worked on, asks, please upload your site and security plan for your business. That question is asked in page 7. So we can go to page 7 if you like, at least in my document. So there's no need for question 12. We can eliminate that, make it shorter.
Okay, so we'll,
Look at page 7. If you guys want.
I think I combined something. It was something about security that was asked twice. I think I combined.
Yeah, page 7.
okay, so that was already recommended by you, Al,
I
great.
think so, yeah. Yeah, take a look back.
It's there in 12. So no,
I see I see question 33, which is on page 8 is deleted, which is a request to upload a security plan again.
Yeah,
But then question 32 also seems to be on the security
Yeah.
plan and is not fully deleted.
that's right.
so basically we'll
Let's,
let's go through any type of question on security, ensure that's all asked in one. Okay,
right.
okay, so let's scroll down. Sorry, Nellie, thanks for being here.
All right, so it's 12.
We probably also can consolidate, have you applied, if no, when, you can add that one, ask that one question. Okay, so these are important ones. This is what, Tina, you were saying, these are things or some of the things you look at first. To know that they understand where they can and can't be, have they confirmed it, et cetera. I do also agree. These are important, as Rodney was saying, for us to know whether or not they really know where they're gonna be going. Do they know the community? So I don't have a problem keeping these here. Any other thoughts?
Yes, I do. I really dislike this application. But we can improve on it, I think. To make it a little bit more friendly, I think it'd be nice to break it down into sections. Like, for example, question 21 starts asking about the block associations, town associations, very important. It'd be nice to break it up into saying section 2, community notification relations. section 3, security, section 4. Now here, it only shows, not even high, it just shows community, but we have relations, not, it doesn't break it up to make it a little bit friendlier. So it's a simple cosmetic fix, in my opinion.
Okay. So the exercise was open to all of us for providing recommendations that if you would like, why don't you work on those cosmetic? So this was written when this process first started. And we have to thank Jesse Greenwald for trying to wrap his head around what this whole regulation was and figuring out how to get started. Again, he was using BLP as a blueprint in order to figure out what are the things that we would think are important. And obviously, as the process has gone on, we've learned things as well. So, Alan was the one who responded, and we're appreciative of that. But Raul, if you have some ideas on how it could flow better, give a shot, circulate it around us. We'll get a clarification from Jesse on.
Well, I thought that this was the meeting to discuss this. I mean, I thought that was the agenda item.
It
so
is,
I read the
but-
thing, and I said, wait a minute. this
But
could be-
you're suggesting cosmetic changes, et cetera, which I think is helpful for us to visualize what that is. What I'm saying is it might be helpful for you to break that up in those sections that you're referring to and provide that for us. And then we get that clarification from Jesse. And then we take that up again at the next meeting. Hopefully Wendy is here. We can finalize it and bring it to the full board.
Question 22, that's fairly new though, right? The residential, because I actually like that one because it sort of goes straight into residential units within the same building. I hadn't seen that before. Is that fair? Did you add that one? Or,
No,
maybe I missed it all this time.
No, that's always been there. We did take out 33 and 34.
Oh, good.
I mean, if you scroll them down, because again, it was a security thing that was asked, please upload the security, which was redundant, and then 33, please provide detailed security. 34, what is the anticipated increase in sidewalk traffic? That should, or how will you manage sidewalk? That should be all part of the security plan to begin with. So we just knocked out three questions.
Beautiful. That's great. Love it.
Nicely done. Okay, if we can scroll down a little bit from there, Nellie, please. Okay, so this is things that we have added systematically on most of our types of applications, just asking about whether they'll hire from the community. And also understanding if they have a connection to the community. Again, I think with Raul's suggestion of breaking it up into the different sections is very thoughtful. Community engagement section, security section, compliance section, things like that. And these two questions are clearly ones that fall under community engagement.
Look at question 23.
Okay, sorry, back up, Nellie, please. 23. Thank you.
I don't know if you saw this one, Alan, but it says, will the applicant provide a cell phone number? And he can say either yes or no. Why don't we just say, what is the cell phone number that you will provide? Let's just assume or require that they provide one. What do you think?
Do we?
Because there it says,
I agree.
will you provide a cell phone number? He said, yes, I'll provide one, but it's nowhere in the application.
Well, here's a question. Nellie, do you know if we actually have people fill that out in the application for BLP? The reason why I'm asking is whether or not in a public meeting, it's shown, displayed,
I don't
et cetera.
think
People that have someone's cell number. Do you know, Nellie? If,
Yes, we do ask applicants to provide not necessarily a cell phone number, but a phone number for neighbors to
contact
be able
when they
to
have a problem?
a contact number for complaints if complaints should arise. It doesn't have to be a cell phone number, but just a number for people to call and to provide one. They don't necessarily have to provide one on the spot, but if they do have one, they do put it on the form. Yes.
So
maybe we
question
change
is
the wording.
Not will, but applicant agrees to provide.
Yes.
And we should make it not a cell phone number, it's reasonable if it's the store number, in fact,
Yeah,
probably
please,
that's better
please.
than just some.
Yeah,
person's
please
cell phone.
provide a contact number for, the community in the event there's issues.
I will do that, please.
Okay, provide, get the please.
I think we should make it that nice.
Okay.
But I'm just saying,
Respond to that.
you know, please provide,
You said please.
Please to provide.
You said please.
He's a nice guy.
You can't help it, it's nice.
That's right.
Or on page 1, you can ask for it. There's already a space there. You say,
Yeah,
what's
but
your
there's a
email?
difference though.
Yeah,
That's
There's a
contact,
difference
yeah.
between providing an owner or a worker's cell number and a number where one can contact
Good point.
in the event,
problem.
yes. Which is
Good point.
distinguished on VLP as well. There's the top portion that asks.
Yeah, that's a general, you know, it's my home number, you can
Right.
get it there anytime. But if you have an emergency, use this number.
And that number is important, I have to say, and really the community appreciates it when,
And they use it.
and they use it, yes,
Okay,
So
so,
change 23 to ask for that number.
yeah.
and change the wording so that it's a
Yeah.
contact number for the community if issues arise.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna scroll down again, Nellie, thank you. And this is all the community-related questions. And again, you know, with Raul's suggestion of reordering or putting things in categories, the question 27 is a very key question. It's probably one that should be up near the top, the previous experience. And that can be in more of the, you know, the opening part, you know, sort of the general information about the applicant, explain your connection to the cannabis industry, your understanding, your education around it, et cetera. And that could go into adding the question that you raised, Tina, of how will you continue to be informed of changes and updates to the regulations and be able to stay compliant. And then 28 is just like a freebie, you know, what else do you want to tell us? About your previous experience. Okay, and let's see. All right, here we go, towards the end. The operational details. Now that is segregated as a section, and that makes sense, just as Raul was suggesting. And this is again around hours. This may be stuff that we have up front. You know, clarify where you're located, what your intended hours of operation, do you intend to have delivery, all of those things maybe closer to the top. In one section, and having the hours, you know, I don't know that we need to separate the hours Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think just ask what are the hours and have them give what days of the week they plan on being open.
You know, there's a place near me that I think there have been complaints regarding music or noise.
Okay,
Have you, in the past year, has anybody heard of cannabis shops?
yes, the one on 56th Street, Ninth
That's what
Avenue,
I'm talking, okay.
Cannabis
So
Greens,
the
and do you know who that
question
is? That's Jerry.
Yeah, so my
Oh,
question
maybe
is,
it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, but he
so
stopped the
that's
music.
one.
Yes,
So my question is, like in VLP next to these hours, it always says, do you plan on playing any?
yeah, so
music
he
or
has been, we have reached out to him. He has already made some changes, there's not. Music is not constant as it has been.
Right,
In fact, there was a while that it wasn't on at all. Also, he had a very strange sign that was on the corner, like,
it's,
well, he has the ones with the
yeah,
little wave.
yeah.
It's been raised, and so again,
Should we, but the question is, should we add that? Do you have any intent?
so here's the problem, they're not supposed to do that anyway. So for us to ask that, we don't want to even suggest it is one of my issues. But maybe there's a final attestation that we ask of them. Do you attest that you will abide by the OCM regulations? And in particular, around signage, amplified music, and your, you know, just your visual presence. So that could be the logo they use and all those things. Because that could be a way that we are also highlighting what's important to us. We're also highlighting that it is already regulated, and as a reminder, And we're asking for them to say, I'll abide by that.
For that.
Any thoughts on an attestation?
That's an interesting idea because there are several things, right? The no music, no neon signs, that you could have the applicant initial offer. And just a multiple question, will you abide by the following? Please initial.
Right.
No neon sign, initial, no music, initial, you know?
That's a good idea.
And just the one question that covers
All the
two,
different-
three, four
Yeah.
issues that are important.
Good idea.
I like that.
Is
Okay.
it, just from my understanding here, is it not allowed to have music at all, or music that's audible outside of the store?
Even a regular bar can't be playing, even a store cannot have amplified music outside. So all those little shops,
Outside the store,
yeah. so
okay,
they're-
I didn't, cause bars routinely have music inside.
Yeah, but it's out, there's music playing outside. You've heard it. I didn't know you lived in the neighborhood.
What is
I didn't know you lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
They added that since I moved from
Exactly.
54th Street, when I was there, it was totally regulated,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I moved, at the end of last September.
No, I'm just saying Jerry's posed some issues from the beginning.
it's,
I think it was only open for like 2 months, maybe
It
over
took a
that.
while, it took a while for it to get open, yes, but it's been raised, it's been flagged. There's a couple other places that there were similar issues, problems, like the young woman who came to us, that her family's been in the business. They had music
Oh.
playing outside as
oh,
well,
really?
they also were open hours that were not hours they presented to us. So these are things that are flagged, and OCM has announced that they have a new division, which will be focused on enforcement of the legal cannabis shop. Most of the focus is, however, on products, because there's a lot of excess California product that's been in the marketplace. And that has been found to be sold from some of the legal cannabis shops, which it's supposed to be New York product only. So again, I'm sure OCM is very overwhelmed, still trying to right the ship. But we can continue to contact them when we have these types of violations. But I do think that you're right, asking of all those things that we know are regulated, but just having them acknowledge in either an initial or an attestation to demonstrate that they're aware, they will abide, and it's something we can go back to them and say, hey, you're not being a good neighbor. You said you would abide by this. And you're also in violation. Okay, so let's scroll down just a bit more. And I think this is the security, again, we already talked about consolidating the security questions, not having to go ahead and separate that. I think what was raised by you, Alan, previously, to understand who's on site, what exactly are their roles, maybe a little bit more of an expansion within the same question, explain how many employees and what their roles are, so we understand maybe there's 4 security and 2 salespeople, that type of thing, so having an understanding of that. We can scroll a little bit more. Okay, so 36 is actually a duplication in terms of asking about their hiring plan and whether they'll hire from MCB4. We can consolidate that question and maybe change the wording so it's a little
Or combine it with the one from
previously,
before,
yes, and then clean up the language a little
and
bit.
then delete that one.
Yes. And then what products? Again, that's something I think these types of questions on operations should be a little bit higher up. Please, maybe not what you expect to carry. Please list the products that you will offer. And then I think phone orders and delivery, we could combine that, but I do think they are very separate and distinct things in terms of how they validate a phone call. Who wants to order, whether that's delivery or the person says, I'm ordering for pickup, and they show up 10 minutes later. Again, I think that it's important, and if you see in this original document, Jesse had added the actual parts of the regulation so that they understand that that is something that they're supposed to abide by.
I have a problem with 39.
Okay.
The wording of it, it might be, it's probably a typo. But it says that as of May 28, 2023, the revised adult use regulations do now allow. Is he trying to say does not allow
No,
or now allow?
do
he's
now.
saying delivery's now allowed, because they had changed that. So this is a
Okay,
little
so-
outdated, so we know that it's allowed.
It's just a typo. It's just remove the EO. It just now allows a business license. to
I mean,
sell.
We
do
don't
now
know.
was written as a way of emphasizing the now.
Yeah.
It's maybe actually making it less clear, but it's like, do now, like,
I thought he was trying to say does not allow. So I misunderstood.
Yeah.
But it may not be relevant to have that in there at all,
It's
because
very,
again, it's from
you tell it's
2023.
written by a lawyer.
Yeah, so it's 2023, and now is,
That's a big word.
uh,
Yeah, you should-
but I think it's
maybe
not
let's
necessary at
now
all.
allow.
I don't think we have to,
We can take it out, we can take it out, it's been far enough since that date.
but I don't think we need to add it, is what I'm saying, is because this has been from 2023, we're in 2025, so it is a normal course of business for these licensed cannabis shops that they have the opportunity to do delivery or not. So it's not new. So I don't know, I mean,
Yeah,
my thought is
we
just
need
take
to-
it out.
Can we
Yeah.
eliminate the question altogether?
Well, yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
We're gonna ask-
Oh, no, we wanna ask them about
If
delivery.
they're doing delivery, but
We
we're
wanna
not gonna
ask if
add
they
the legal,
delivery.
we're not gonna add the note.
So
Right.
so 38, can we combine delivery into question 38? Will they actually accept online telephone orders and delivery?
Then online could be either come pick it up or something, so.
And so could telephone. So maybe maybe we combine and say, please indicate if you will be operating any any non-point of sale, is a term, point of, there's a term for where you sell on premises.
I think that's more confusing to
Yeah.
me, like, I think it's more clear to say delivery.
Yeah, you can
Or-
operate the division, but let me, how do they verify?
I don't know.
Over the phone?
I don't know, and that's why it's an important question to keep in there,
Hmm.
so that they can describe if they are planning on taking phone orders. That they can describe a process by which they can
They
confirm.
verify you when you show up in the store, I
When
believe.
you deliver, when they actually, or pick up or a delivery,
I mean,
supposedly.
a pickup, I think it's fairly clear to me, it's the same when you check out, similar to if you check out something you picked up on the shelf yourself. You just check out and
Yeah,
they,
but that's not about
and same thing, you also probably have to show you just even enter the store.
so you don't have to verify someone's over 21 to order over the phone.
No, but they can't pick it up.
When you pick it up, you verify.
Yeah.
But what happens?
So why ask, how will you verify someone's over 21? If it's a phone in order?
Cause it's a delivery.
The delivery point.
So I think that it's
You know what I'm saying?
important
It doesn't make-
to maybe ask those questions.
I think we should ask the question about how will the applicant, I think it's actually. Incorrect the way it is now, on 38, it asks, will you accept telephone orders? Then how will you verify that the purchaser is over the age of 21? That should be changed, and then on 39, it just says, will you operate a delivery service? It should be changed so that on 38, we only ask, will you accept online telephone orders? And the question about how will you verify that the applicant is the purchaser is over the age of 21 should be moved to be in 39.
Yeah, I see.
Well, 39 is when you're picking it up.
Wait, can we just pull up the
38.
the question so people can see
Yeah,
both?
I see your point. Cause if they're in the store and picking it up, it
Well,
automatically,
39
they can't get it unless
Thank
they're
you.
parked
Yeah.
lot.
So we just moved that second sentence from 38 to 39. That's my whole suggestion.
I do
Combining
think
with
it's
how you operating a delivery service?
Because we assume 38, I understand how they're being verified, it's just the regular store process. For 39, we do the question, if you're operating a delivery service, then I have a question, how are you verifying?
right, so what Sanford is saying is that if you order online or you order on the phone. You can place an order, but you can either choose pickup, which has to have a process for verifying,
Right.
or you could choose delivery if they haven't, and then you'd have to have a process for verifying. Either way, a phone order or an online order, however it's going to be received, has to have a verification, either in the store or delivery. So we would want to know, what is your process for
Hold on.
age verification?
I'm suggesting we take it out of 38 and
I
put it
understand.
only on 39, because for 38. Like, they're already gonna speak to that in their security plan, in their site, in their,
I'm
like,
agreeing with
like,
you. I'm
okay.
agreeing with you.
No,
What
I'm
I'm
just trying
saying
to
is that, what I'm saying is that when you ask the question about delivery service, that will include someone who may have phoned in the order or ordered online and chose delivery. So we want to
But
understand.
are there stores that, because if there are stores that operate, you can order online for pickup or you can call in online for pickup, but don't offer delivery, which as far as I know is, I mean, there are restaurants that offer that, so I imagine there are cannabis shops that offer that as well. In that case, I don't need to like hear any extra information. If delivery, then I do think we need a little bit of extra information.
That's really.
Yeah, again, we're already gonna hear about it, as you said, in the security plan for someone coming into the store. That we know.
So
It's
then we have to
irrelevant to
scrutinize the security plan. Because if you're delivering something, right, and you're not in the store, someone comes in, here's my ID, blah, blah, blah. And you're delivering something, is the delivery person responsible to check that he's delivering to the right person?
Yes.
That's important.
I think we should ask explicitly about delivery because every applicant who's ever come in has addressed the how do we ID in the store question head on in their presentation.
Yeah.
But people do not necessarily speak about delivery. That is a piece of information that applicants do not necessarily. And I also think just to be like, in terms of like, well, I put it this way. If I were trying to obtain cannabis underage, I would like, I think it's much harder to do it in a store.
Right.
Some people are doing it, but it's much harder than delivery. So I think that's much more important to bring to applicants' attention if they're going on delivery. You guys really need to figure out how to do this in a safe way.
Right, it doesn't matter how old the person is who's ordering it on the phone. Unless you can get a picture of the person or they're gonna send you something, that becomes complicated. So someone have to, Johnny, will you order me, a bag of hot for, and have it delivered to it's the point of delivery that has to be.
That's the only thing we can reasonably check.
Hence your suggestion to move the verify the purchase at age 21 from question 38 to question 39.
Yes.
And I agree with that. Now, is it necessary to keep that reference about since May 2020?
No, we already said we're taking it out.
Oh, we're taking
We
it out.
did.
Oh,
We
good.
already said it's
Missed
not
that.
relevant. Yeah.
Wonderful, the less the better.
Okay, so let's move down, please, Nellie. And your torture's almost over. Poor Nellie. So again, the wording here needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I think it's very simple to ask, are there plans for on-site consumption at your location?
You see, the other thing, I brought this up with somebody who was contemplating, consumption. Is there a safety factor involved? I mean, are you providing somebody who is adept at dealing with, person's incident? Or having a reaction? I think there's a safety factor that should be included in it, about a trained person, if you're gonna have consumption. You need to have somebody who can administer,
We'll have to check, because it may also be in the regulations about that there may be requirements for training in the
Right.
same way as if you have food or alcohol, that there's training if somebody's choking, if somebody is having a medical emergency, so we'll have to
Also,
check
have
that.
we ever seen any on-site consumption applicants?
We denied them so far.
Jerry,
Jerry wanted
And
to.
Jerry
do
Jerry has those space downstairs and he
Somebody
was.
else has.
Yeah.
Well, we said,
I
whoa,
would like to
hold on a
see,
second.
I'd like to see what people present to us and what we need to be more probing about. Are we?
The license allows it.
the guy on 56th Street, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about,
Yeah,
Jerry. You wanna go visit them afterwards, see what
That's
he's doing?
Jerry Diaz, his last name. Yeah, he has the space down at the bottom for, in fact, the bar,
They used to use something down there.
well, it was a bar and downstairs it was
It was
the lounge
Ralph's,
area.
forever it was Ralph's, it was this
Ralph's.
Italian
Right,
restaurant
that's
forever,
the
it was,
restaurant.
and everybody was very.
No, that's not-
Right, we digress.
Red white table.
I know, well, Bellows was my favorite for white tablecloth stuff,
Yeah, that's true.
I love Bellows. That was the old neighborhood,
Yeah.
but it was on the corner of 56th and 9th, there's Bellows with the blue awning.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, I have digressed. Okay, we move on. Thank
Can
you,
we
Rob.
go back to page 1?
Okay, sorry, Nellie, we're on page 1.
But no,
Look at that.
Oh,
Say that again?
Page
one.
1, please, sorry.
Okay.
Going the wrong way. All right, here we go.
This application starts by asking an email address, which I found really unusual. How about we start asking the name of the applicant?
It is. It's
Now,
already-
this changed.
That's already.
Oh, that's your, okay, in mine it doesn't show.
Maybe the whole.
In mine,
This is using the one that you sent.
right, the one that was in the Dropbox.
Yeah. So, again, my suggestion is
Oh, I see, okay, I didn't see that, yeah, okay.
I did see
Okay,
something,
that was the first thing.
it's,
I think mine was.
Hey Nelly, sorry, can you go to back to the last page? I think we have, we're asking about the lottery number all the way at the end.
At the end.
That should be moved up, right? Cause we asked them, when we asked them about filing with, OCM, that's where we typically ask about what's your lottery number.
Yeah, we had it at the end.
And we typically, so where,
It was, right, 43 was the last number.
so there's a question that we ask if we filed,
That's earlier.
right, and those go together.
Yes, you should ask, what is your lottery?
All right, or if not, when are you gonna file? If you have, what's your lottery number?
So I think we're close to getting this a little bit better. I think, as we mentioned, it's important to clarify about whether or not that was just a time management issue on an executed lease. So we need to clarify that with Jesse. I think Raul's suggestion in creating different blocks.
Wait,
So-
are we, maybe we're already doing this, but can we just get like a list of proposed changes? Other than the ones that are already in the, that Alan already put in the doc, which I think we're all happy with.
Well, what I was going to suggest is because, again, I think from a style perspective, Raul was suggesting really reworking the document. And so what I was going to suggest is perhaps what we circulate is what Alan's worked on. And then Raul, when you have time, we circulate what you work on, and then we bring this up again for discussion to finalize at our next meeting, and we can present to.
Can we just do a list? I mean, also in terms of what we present to the full board, a list of the substantive, non-stylistic changes.
Yes.
Just right now, I wanna make sure we have the list down. I know someone could review the tape, but it's probably better to just do it. And if someone said something that was forgotten,
No.
then.
So what we wanted to do is to create sections, one around operation, security, community engagement, and applicant general information. We wanted to combine, a good number of questions, mostly so that we are not duplicating, asking about security. We wanted to expand the section on the lease so that it literally gives the options there of whether or not it's an executed lease or a letter of intent. And so that they can go ahead and just upload that instead of asking the question, just tell them to do that. If we could scroll down, there was two more. There was adding to the section around how engaged you are, what's your connection to cannabis, also asking the question that Tina asked of how they will continue to be informed of changes so they can stay compliant. We also want to, instead of asking if they're willing to leave a phone number, request that they provide a contact number for issues and concerns. We weren't very clear, or I have a consensus around if we were going to change the questions that we're seeing here on the screen, which are around whether or not they are compliant with these regulations, but we did suggest a section of attestation where we're listing certain things. We could put that all in one area. Again, are you within 200 feet, or are you within 500 feet, and have them sign, initial, attest. And so all of that is in one area.
That's easy.
Right?
No, we put that on the cover sheet.
And so it's made clear, this is,
Right, so
this
clear.
is, this is what you are required to comply with.
Mhm.
We want to confirm that you are not within, that you are not within, that you will not do, right? And that includes amplified music outside, neon signs, cartoon characters for their logo. The windows, I believe that there is some stipulations around whether they're frosted or not. And then again, these questions about how close they may be to a school, how close they may be to a house of worship, et cetera, et cetera. So we can put that all in one section. And then, if you just scroll a little bit, I think there was one more area that we discussed. Okay, we decided to, for the community engagement part, to not only ask them to tell us who they've reached out to, but to provide any responses they've received from the community.
Yeah, and it's like, that sounds like a change to the email, actually, not to the, doc, because I don't think, we asked about that.
They provide, like, our Dropbox is this application, it's also proof that they put up the posters, it's.
No, I'm just clarifying, is the change to this, or is it change to that, a change to the email?
I think it's a change here that we're saying, please tell us who you've reached out to within the community and provide responses.
Can you go to the cover sheet?
Can we go to the cover sheet, which I think is a
Okay, and
different
then
topic?
also moving that question, moving the thing about delivery, how will you verify from 38 to 39?
The delivery.
Yeah.
H2, yeah.
And I think that was it.
And of course, keep the email, you suggest the applicant's name, but let's also keep the email address and even ask for a phone number there.
Yes,
You know,
that's just the
general
general
information.
information, yeah.
Provide a phone number, we can call you.
Yeah, so Nellie, the cover letter that goes out. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a phone.
Thanks. So I think what we discussed here is that we wanted to make sure they understand what the purpose and what the focus would be from a community board perspective. And there we're letting them know that we expect that they will comply with all of OCM regulations, but we also want to ensure that there has been ample community outreach and understanding of community sensitivities, concerns, et cetera. I think we also wanted to, in this section, talk about, I think this is where you want to put it in a timeline.
I wanted to say, please reach out to people at least 2 weeks before the application. If you're receiving this email less than 2 weeks before your appearance, then
As soon
just
as possible.
as soon as possible.
Right.
This is also where I had a problem with the proof of control of premises. Bullet number 2, followed by the first sentence after that, where it says applicants without proof of control premises.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna clarify with Jesse.
Right,
Okay.
we need clarification there.
And I think we should also ask on the H thing, we should say, please come with, like, I don't know, determinate hours of operation. Because people, I understand why applicants often come and they say, we don't know, but we could even be more clear. Please come with, you know, the broadest range of hours you think you will operate. Something, I don't know, I just want to be clear, like, if you this is a stipulation, so actually if you do less, because there's not a market, that's fine, but come to us with the latest you think will be open.
So
That's
in
your
highlight,
application.
well, in highlighting in this section, what you want to do is tell them what's important. Say, we want to understand your connection to the community, your outreach to the community, response from the community, but also your intended method of operation. And please clarify if that is something, please clarify if the hours you intend to open are hours that you will aspire towards, or if.
Well, I guess what, I'm just thinking for the pleasure of an applicant who's not a lawyer. Like, they may just be answering that question with, they may, you know, I am not sure, I'm just gonna put the hours that I think I'm gonna operate.
Which is what they do.
I think a lawyer will say correctly, like, you need to put the full possible range that you
But
can
the law
operate at.
allows, which is like the.
Because what you agree to, you are bound to, and you cannot operate outside of those hours. So, but that is not like just a regular small business owner may not understand that. I didn't understand it the first day I showed up to this committee. I learned it. So somehow making that clear.
Yeah, this is not binding, however, and what we have noticed is because they are legally allowed to open till 2 AM, even those that have presented to us that they're gonna stay open till 10, they're open till 2 AM. So it's unfortunate, we don't have a
Are
lot.
the stipulations now, like if you sign a contract with someone, it doesn't matter whether it's legally required or not, it's a contract. Contracts are legally binding.
Contracts are legally binding when it's a contract. This
But it
is,
is not a
this
contract.
is not a contract.
Okay,
And we are an advisory.
no, I just didn't know if it was a contract or not.
Yeah, we're an advisory agency of the city, so even the stipulations that at BLP that are generally signed even by lawyers. We find that there are bad actors who do not follow any of them, and that constantly becomes a conversation that usually comes to police community council meetings. Where there are members that are very informed will say they're not abiding by MCB4 stips. And they'll have it in front of them and they'll present saying they have music playing outside. They stipulated and signed that they would not, and that happens often. Because again, we're not the body that polices the adherence, and we are advising on what we would like as a community and hope that we have applicants that are thoughtful enough to want to be members of the community and be good neighbors. There's no enforcement.
Now, doesn't BLP, I mean, the liquor license allows you to operate till 4 in the morning, but don't you guys encourage or have a policy to maximum 2 in the morning?
I don't know what SLA allows, but, we try not to go too far over.
Well, when you get a liquor license, part of the liquor license is method of operations, which I don't think is true for the cannabis licenses. The cannabis license, you just get a cannabis license.
Right.
For a liquor license, the hours that you're approved for are part of your approval that you get from the SLA.
So for example, if we recommend a 2 AM close and the applicant agrees to it. And then applies with that agreed upon 2 AM, their hours of operation are a request to that time. And again,
That's on their license.
correct, however, they could
Under
say.
permit.
They could say to MCB4, we'll agree to your 2 AM close, and they can still apply to SLA till 4 AM, and they can still be approved to 4 AM, and there's nothing we can do about it.
But we do, I mean, SLA does see our letter.
Yes,
And they may note the discrepancy and not care, but that is I imagine that is a deterrent. It certainly does not,
It's a good business.
well, we have.
look good on your application.
We have a former MCB4 member who ended up going to the SLA, and that has helped improve having an eye on it, because generally it's a state authority. The New York City process is very unique, the rest of the state. I want to open a bar, okay, there you go. And here, there's a process that's been added, which includes the community input.
And I heard that person is not sure.
Yeah.
Imagine. That person, the first person that was on the SLA board from New York City, everybody else was like, oh,
Everybody's
state.
somewhere upstate.
Is it located in Albany?
They do have them in Hanover, when they have,
I was like, that was saying I was all upstate.
yeah, no, but they were all upstate, board members.
So folks, I think that we have a framework around what we want to change, which is mostly style and consolidation. We also think that there's some wording that this needs to be eliminated because it doesn't sound right or it's no longer necessary. I think that we do this justice by looking again over the suggestions that Alan wrote. We'll give you some time to give us some guidance on those sections that you might think will be helpful to let it flow better, be user friendly. And then we review it and then we vote on that for the next month and bring it to full board.
How about if we put it up as a Google Doc?
Yeah, but who's making like the suggestions
Just a
you just
Google
went
Doc,
over,
that
that
way
big
all of
summary?
us can go in there,
Is that,
make changes.
Jesse, is that one of us? Is that you? Who, just wanna make sure they're inputted.
It's probably me.
Okay.
I am smiling behind the mask.
Is there an alternative to Google Doc that Alan can use to get us started? Because otherwise it would mean you have a Word document, which then you send to me and then I.
Wait, Word documents
Yeah,
you
but-
can do correct.
Yeah, you can do that.
You hit-
Online, but for everybody to access it, I mean, everybody in the committee to access
Yeah,
it?
sure, it's in Word, so it's not PDF, so anybody can make a change.
You put it online,
Put it online, when colorize it,
I mean, we can all just send in our edits and they can be centralized into,
yeah.
unless there's conflicting edits, but
I
if
think
that's
that-
the case, then
It's
whoever
not,
consolidates them can call that out.
it sounds like we're all on the same page. We're all moving in the same direction.
Yeah,
And I think the
I
big-
think it's a lot more change, the wording has to be, filtered out. The questions, even my comments, probably need to be shaped up in terms of wording. So, I don't think we're gonna be adding a whole lot more than what we just discussed it.
So you're gonna put the document online and give us access to go in there? Is that what or are you, I just want to be clear, or are you gonna create a Word document and then email it around to us and?
I could do that.
No, I prefer not. I prefer just to put in one document online and we access that one central document.
All right, let me do
If
this.
possible.
Time out,
I
time out.
can work it up.
Nope.
I'll send it to Dolores.
No. Raul, you have an idea around reformatting. So if you could please create a Google Doc and then
It doesn't use people.
I
It's
mean,
okay.
I could
he
work.
can't, he can't. Again, we can incorporate what you've already done.
Right.
And it's a way for us to start to look at it. And again, this is because you had suggested changing the formatting, and I think that's we start from there. Because we start from where Alan is, Alan just made changes to some of the things in the same order that it lay.
Right,
And
some,
we-
a lot of stuff has to be moved, brought up. I know,
So if we
Tell you
can,
what, send me the Word document.
mhm.
I will convert it to a Google Doc.
Okay,
I'll open it up to everybody in the committee.
one,
And you guys can just go in there and have all the fun you want, and it'll record who suggested
I'll-
what, who deleted this, who added that.
Perfect.
I'll
And I
send
thank you for your like half an hour of work that you're gonna spend fixing all the formatting after you convert from a Google Doc from a Word.
Well, hopefully that won't be,
Okay.
that won't be too
do
tough.
I
I'll
have a
send you a new
motion?
application.
Yes, what's the
Various
motion?
changes, moving stuff around. blah, blah,
Do I have a
blah.
second?
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, Nellie,
Yeah, we'll put.
mercifully, we are done.
Thank you, Nelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nellie.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your help on Tuesday.
Not a problem.
All right, have a good night.
So
Good
motion
night.
to adjourn?
We already had it.
Oh, we already-
And it was second.
We are out.
Oh, you're right, I was thinking.
You adjourned before.